In part 3, we're going to add subheads and we're going to add some narrative text about ourselves using p tags. So let's get started with the subheads, and you could use H2 to H3 as far as a level of importance or priority. Remember, it's H1 through H6, H1 the most important, H6 the least important. All right, so I'm just going to copy paste. So I'm going to copy paste a couple of subheads here. And I'm going to place my subheads inside the main content area. So we're going to nest our subheads. And I'm going to work with H3 because my idea here is H1 is the overall title, the most important title or type on the page. And it's also in the header. So it's like a title inside of a banner. And then we have our main element, and then we will nest our subheads inside. And again, I'm going to go with an H3 instead of an H2 because maybe I want a subhead to the H1, and then the H3 will be a subhead for each of my paragraphs. So let's just do H3 like so. And then I'll paste in my text, and then we can save. And you'll see that this text here is the default H1, and this text is now being set to the default H3. All right, so I'm going to pause the video, and then when we come back, all of our H3s will be in place. There we go. All the H3s are magically there now. All right, so now it's time to add in our next chunk of content. And I'm thinking about this. I'm now going to go back up here to the top, and I'm going to take this first chunk and copy this. And I could add this as a paragraph, but maybe I want that initial intro to have a bit more importance. So I think what I'll do is after my H1 inside of the header, I'll go ahead and go with an H2, like so. And then I'll place my text inside. And then I can see what's going on down here, and I can scroll through this, but it's a little tough to see. So let's just go up to Change View. I'm going to click on Change View, and then Full Page View. I'm going to right-click and just open this in a new tab, and then we can see our layout a little bit better here. So we have our H1, we have our H2, and then we have our H3s. Okay, let's go ahead and add some paragraphs after the professional background part here. So I'm going to go back to my text, and I'll just grab both of these paragraphs and copy. And let's go back to CodePen. And after this first H3, we'll just press return, and I'll paste in my text. And let's go ahead and just add a p tag here, and we'll close our p tag. And remember, when an element opens and closes, that's a block level element. So let's add our p tag. And then I believe our p tag will end right there. So we'll go ahead and save, and I'm going to refresh my page, and now my two paragraphs. So right now we have added block level elements, and you'll notice that they take up the entire width of the browser, and then they have a default size and they have a default amount of space between each of the groups. And we'll talk about that space later on when we get into I am in CSS and we start writing our CSS rules. All right, so if we go back to CodePen here and we go back to our exercise, what we'll do is, again, through magic, when we come back in part 4, I'll already have all of my paragraph text in, and then we'll be ready to start adding an ordered list.